Yeah, hi everyone. So we will be waiting a couple of minutes for people to join. So we're still waiting for some people and we'll start in a couple of minutes. Yeah, people are still coming in. Two more minutes and we'll start. Yeah, greetings to you all and welcome to today's webinar for the Omnipreneurship Award 2021 Sustainability Branch Challenge brought to you by 9 Sigma. My name is Serene from 9 Sigma and I will be your host and moderator today. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and the recording and transcription will be made available on the Omnipreneurship Award 2021 Challenge page on 9 sites. Let's review our agenda for today. So we'll start by introducing our speakers, discuss the project in greater depth, and we'll take some time addressing your questions during a live Q&A session, followed by a brief summary of project information, including how to request additional information or assistance. And this is a reminder to everyone, to the participants, that you are in listen-only mode as we proceed through today's presentation. Please feel free to ask questions at any time using the question box through your GoToWebinar control panel located near the top right side of your screen. We'll keep track of your questions, respond to them during the Q&A portion of the webinar. Should you need any more information or assistance outside of today's webinar, please contact 9 Sigma provider help desk at phd@9sigma.com. At this time, I'd like to introduce our panelists for today's webinar. From Al-Dabbagh Group, we have Sahar Taleb, Chief Omnipreneurship Officer. From Petrolube Oil, we have Sajid Said, CEO. Salman Perez, Vice President of Operations. From Petrolube Oil Technical Team, we have Rajiv Siverman, Mustafa Gabala, and Yusuf. From Nine Sigma's Europe team, we have Tom Vranken, Program Manager. Everyone, thank you all for joining us today. And at this time, I will give the floor to Sahar, where she will tell us more about AlDaba Group and Omnipreneurship. Sahar?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Omnipreneurship Awards 2021 Sustainability Challenge. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about Al-Dabbagh Group. We're a family-owned business that was established in 1963. We have always subscribed to an ecosystem called Omnipreneurship, which uses the three principles of giving, earning, and sustaining as our balance, our 5 values as our foundation, and our 10 golden rules, which we consider to be our accelerators to move us forward. We always start every initiative with giving, aligning it with the SDGs, and then figure out how this can become an earning project for us and how we can make it a sustainable project. We looked at our golden rule of the next big thing, and we used this golden rule to inspire us to create the Omnipreneurship Awards. Using this golden rule, we wanted to encourage innovation within our group and our companies. So in 2020, we launched a global crowdsourcing program to engage global partners and solve issues in different industries within our group. We are always looking for sustainable and carbon negative solutions. And we look for solutions that bring value to our companies and to our different industries. With this year, Petromine Lubricants have been our partners who have launched this year's challenge, and we look forward to you participating in this challenge.
Yeah, thank you, Sahar.
Thank you.
And our next presenter, CEO, Sajid. Yeah, Sajid or one of our other speakers will present more about Petromine at this moment. Yeah. Sajid, can you start?
He has to unmute himself. I think he doesn't know.
Can we have Salman?
Okay, we got it now. I think now I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we can hear it. Yes.
Some minor technical issue, I think. So, hello everyone. My name is Sajid Said. I am the CEO of Petrolube Oils. This is basically the Petrolube lubricants business. We are by far the leading #1 player in manufacturing, distribution of lubricants and automotive services through our sister company, Petrolube Automotive, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We also have the largest market share in the kingdom. We employ more than 5,000 employees, and with our 3 plants in Jeddah, Riyadh, and Dubai, we export to over 40 countries, of course, in the GCC, in the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. So there are very few parts of the world, I mean, in the let's say adjacent markets where we are not present or where we don't have a plan to be present. So we plan to be a fairly, I would say, a very strong regional player, and also play in some more global markets, which are not mentioned here because they are still under development. But we also plan to be a player in certain other non-regional markets as well. As we already know, Petromin, the group is made up of 3 separate business lines. Petrolube is the one that we're talking about today, which I head, which is the lubricants oils blender and manufacturer, and we also sell. So we have manufacturing, which is basically blending. We have distribution. We have multiple channels of distribution, whether it's through distributors or it's through a van in Cairo or at a gas station in Morocco. But our products, could you go back to the previous slide, please, for a second? So we have a lot of presence in, of course, in Saudi Arabia. As I said, we are by far #1. But we also have an important and growing presence in markets like Egypt, Morocco, and also some presence in countries like Pakistan. And this is only going to grow. There are a couple of very exciting markets that we're looking at, where we will also grow further. The other allied business, which is Petromin Express, which is not specifically or exclusively part of the lubricants blending operation, but is linked to it, is Petromin Express, where we have in Saudi Arabia about 700 oil change centers where people go and get their cars serviced, including a lubricant oil change. And we also have multiple auto dealerships, Nissan and Chrysler Group or Stellantis being the main ones, but within them there are other brands as well. Especially in Stellantis, there's lots of other brands like Fiat, there is Dodge, there is Chrysler, and quite a few more. And then, of course, those of you in Saudi Arabia must definitely have seen it, but we also have fuel retailing, or what we call gas stations. We have a significant footprint in Saudi Arabia, but also in Morocco, in Egypt, and Jordan, and this will continue to grow. So we have plans to become, as I said, a very strong regional lubricant/fuel/automotive service business. Now you could move to the next slide, please. Again, without having to repeat myself, we are the market-leading downstream oil company in Saudi Arabia. Our plants, especially our Jeddah plant, is the state-of-the-art blending plant, and of course our Riyadh plant is also modern. And the Dubai plant, which we acquired as an operating plant, has been modernized significantly and continues to be modernized, and is currently our export hub. Our product range is really across the board. I mean, we cover products from things like motorcycles to ships to, of course, cars, to various kinds of industrial applications, turbines, and so on and so forth. And we are, which is why we are here today, we are the sponsor of the Omnipreneurship Award Sustainability Challenge. As Sahar had briefly mentioned, and I'd just like to dwell upon 2 of those points here. The group very strongly believes in the values of integrity, passion, respect, teamwork, and forward thinking. Teamwork and forward thinking are just printed in bold because those are the two areas that we are selecting and focusing in the grand challenge, but that in no way means that the other 3 are of lower priority. It's simply that in this specific exercise, there is more focus on teamwork and forward thinking, but of course, integrity, passion, and respect remain weaved into our DNA.
Yeah, thank you, Sajid.
Okay, thank you very much. And of course, I hand over to Salman, who's going to get into the actual challenge itself. And if there are any questions to me, I'll be happy to answer. And of course, Salman will be too. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Sajid. Yeah, now Salman will present, where he will talk more about the Grand Challenge. He will give more information about that. Salman?
He may be having, okay, he's unmuted now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Salman Perez. I'm the Vice President of Operations and Supply Chain. So I'm going to go a little bit more deeper into this challenge. The question is in front of you, and let me give you a bit of background about this question. As part of our sustainability agenda and our long-term ambition to go towards a carbon neutral economy, we've embarked on a journey to explore and answer the following question. And that question is in front of you. How can used vegetable cooking oils, and this has been underlined because I think that's the challenge lies. Used vegetable cooking oils serve as a biodegradable base oil in lubricants. And I'm going to sort of build the story further on that. Next slide, please. So building on this question and explaining our objective further, the grand challenge objectives are that we would like to find new innovative technologies and approaches which would recycle used vegetable oils. So when I say used vegetable oils, we would actually sort of zoom in and we mainly talk about used cooking oils, which is found in abundance. I will talk about the numbers later on, and convert them into bio-based, biodegradable base oils. And this base oil, which is the resultant product of the technology that we would like to pursue, we could use it as a raw material to formulate our lubricants, and not only by ourselves, but our ambition is that the entire industry should be able to use it to formulate biodegradable lubricants. The challenge objective is that the entire value chain, now I'm not talking about the technology in itself, the entire value chain should have the potential to become cost effective. It should be economically viable on an end-to-end basis. I'm sure you will have a lot of questions around how do you collect, what is the collection mechanism? And these are the things that we are actively looking at. As Sajid mentioned, since we are market leaders, we have the we have the spread, we have the depth of our logistics across the country. So therefore, we do have the muscle power to retrieve oil from wherever it gets generated. Of course, we have to do it in a more cost-effective way. The technology that is going to be proposed has to be scalable to a commercial production. And of course, the final and last but not the least, whatever that this technology that we come up with, that has to mitigate any negative impact on the environment. So these are the high-level objectives we have. Now in the next slide, I'm going to basically give you a little bit more details about, briefly explain about, I call it a value chain flow. And basically lubricants comprises base oils, and you can see base oils comes in different, there are mineral base oils. In mineral base oils, you have group 1, group 2, and then there are high-end base oils that produces top-end range of products, which comprises group 3, group 4, group 5 types of base oils. We do have strategic partnership with our base oil suppliers, long-term strategic partnership that provides us with the required base oils. And the lubricants also comprises additives, and additive is a component that enhances the performance of lubricants. And we use additives in different proportions, different types of additives, depending on the application that we would like to formulate our products for. And these additives again are being provided to us by strategic partnerships of additive suppliers from all over the world. We operate in a market where we've got other multinationals, if you can see in the bottom, as Sajid mentioned earlier, we do provide a range of products, namely we formulate engine oils. Within engine oils, we have gasoline engine oil, diesel engine oils. We manufacture gear oils, a wide suite of hydraulic oils, turbine oils, transmission oil, fluids, greases, etc., etc. And if you were to look at our number of liquids that we produce, we produce more than 100 plus liquids and close to about 700 SKUs in total. We serve a variety of industries, and Sajid mentioned we serve power, construction, government sector, transport, oil and gas, cement industry, marine industry, in addition to the automotive industry that we widely cater for. And this is the value chain that we're talking about. I put a circle around the base oil because that's where the challenge is. We would like our raw materials to be coming from biodegradable sources, and that's the challenge that we have. How do we manufacture base oil that is a biodegradable base oil, so that when we mix with additives, we can actually make a biodegradable lubricants and launch it in the market. Next slide, please. So in summary, we are going to focus on adopting a technology of re-refining and processing used vegetable cooking oil into biodegradable base oil. We will deploy them in lubricants application, taking into consideration challenges of handling used cooking oil. I've used the term challenges because, as you must have seen in our brief, there are various chemical and physical challenges that are associated with using a cooking oil in general, and used cooking oil in particular, because used cooking oil will have a lot of heavy impurities, solid particles. It would be of inconsistent quality because we are going to get it from different sources. In general, a cooking oil does not have it has a very poor oxidation stability. This is a feature that we need in a lubricant, and all of these challenges have to be addressed before we deploy a re-refined cooking oil, biodegradable base oil into a lubricant application. The third one is a logistical challenge, as I mentioned earlier. How do we efficiently collect, sort from different sources, collect them maybe into temporary storage method before it gets fed back as a raw material for a plant to re-refine? A logistical challenge is a challenge, and we are very much interested in US solution providers to give us some feedback around any experiences that you have, or anything that you have experienced, you propose so far, an efficient collection of these used cooking oil from so many different sources. And our objective is that how do we make this efficient, so that it meets the international recommended specs in line with the best practice of international standards. Next slide, please. So in general, we are talking about success criteria. There are three perspectives that we have to look at a proposal. These perspective is a technology perspective, the business perspective, and of course, environmental perspective. I'll just briefly touch upon each and every one of them in the next slides. So talking about technology perspective, we're talking about processing used vegetable cooking oils, ideally applicable to all types. For example, in Saudi Arabia, the most commonly used cooking oil is corn oil, sunflower oil, cooking oil. So when you are going to collect used cooking oils, you would expect these oils to be comprising either corn, sunflower, from canola, because I think probably about 80% of the market uses these type of cooking oils. And of course, the technology perspective for our success criteria is it should be able to address impurities, and I've listed down some of the impurities which would come with these used cooking oil being polymerized compounds. How do we address impurities of polyphenol, triglycerides, and free fatty acid compounds formed due to the breakage of large triglyceride molecules? All of these impurities have to be addressed, have to be taken away from the used cooking oil before it is considered to be further processed into a biodegradable base oil. And of course, in order to make a good quality base oil, we have to improve the undesirable physical properties which are inherent to vegetable oils, as I mentioned. I mean, one of the things which are concerned to us is an inherent problem with the vegetable oil, that is poor oxidation stability. How do we address poor low temperature properties? How do we maintain consistent chemical composition of the vegetable cooking oils in order to meet final application performance standard, performance specification? And the final result, the resultant base oil, could be considered as a biodegradable base oil that we would use to formulate a number of biodegradable lubricants. Next slide, please. The second perspective is a business perspective. Of course, it has to be cost effective. Now you must be asking question, why used cooking oil? What we believe is, and by the way, we mentioned in our brief that a number of countries have adopted, they are successfully formulating biodegradable lubricants using virgin-based vegetable oil. The problem with virgin-based vegetable oil is that yes, the technology exists, but in typically virgin vegetable oils are extremely expensive, and therefore we would like to have a proposal where a used vegetable cooking oil could be reprocessed, and whereas the final product should be in line with the average cost of the virgin-based, mineral-based oil which is available in the market, so that we are not uncompetitive in the market for this particular category of product. Of course, it has to be economically viable. It should lead to new business models. As I mentioned to you, that there would be new revenue streams we could have with this kind of a proposition, where we can have base oil available in the market, which is biodegradable, and could result in significant cost savings as well. And finally, it has to have a potential to become market competitive within 3 to 4 years. So these are some of the business perspectives that we'll be looking at. The last perspective is the environmental perspective. Of course, as part of our sustainability drive, we would like to have this technology enable us a portion of our portfolio to become biodegradable. We would like our portfolio, and we would like to offer our customers a biodegradable option. Of course, with this option, it will minimize the risk of our environmental pollution, and the proposal must have the potential to lead towards a carbon neutral value chain. Therefore, I think the process and whatever byproduct that are being proposed, that comes out of the proposed process, we should look at the angle of how do we make it carbon neutral. And of course, I've highlighted some of the industry standards, like ISO 15380. This, I believe, is a ISO standard for biodegradable hydraulic oils, which is one of the things that we are targeting to achieve. And whatever technology that you propose must have that potential to achieve the industry standards. Next one. Perhaps the last slide. I have highlighted potential solutions, but they are not limited to. You could offer solutions, and there are some novel solutions available, like filtration, separation, refining, distillation, condensation, and these are the things that you should consider in your solutions. And the last bullet point that I've highlighted, the second last one, is best practices, as I mentioned, of collection of waste cooking oil would be very much appreciated and would be considered as an added on, that if you have experience and things to watch out for when we are collecting these used cooking oil from different sources. So I've tried to summarize the grand challenge in a couple of slides. I hope it helps and clarifies. We will soon be clarifying some of the questions that you've already submitted. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Salman. And at this moment, thank you also for all the information. And now Tom from Nine Sigma will go through the challenge specifics surrounding the evaluation criteria, also the submission process, and all the relevant information that you'll need to submit. Tom?
Thanks, Serene. Hi, everyone. So in this next section, I'll give you a short overview of our grand challenge process. What are the most important steps in our process? What is the timeline? How should I submit my proposal? Who will evaluate the proposal? And what can we gain if we participate in this innovation challenge, in this grand challenge? So first of all, I would like to mention that all the information about this grand challenge is available at our project page at Nine Sites. So Nine Sites is our platform, that's Nine Sigma's platform, where we post all our projects, but also where we collect the proposals submitted by you, by solution providers. Now, in addition to the information what was shared in previous emails and also on social media posts. Our webpage, www.ninesigma.com/s/Omnipreneurship Awards 21, offers you all the information about omnipreneurship, about Petrolube, about the Al-Dabbagh Group, and of course about the Grand Challenge itself. Now, at our webpage, there are 3 important documents that you should read before participating in this challenge. The first one is the detailed challenge description, and that contains all the information that should allow you to understand what this project is about and what the project goals are. A second document that you should download and read very carefully are the terms and conditions, also called the official rules. Please have a look at these documents to better understand how we are dealing with IP. Are you eligible? And what are the next steps if we select you as one of the 5 finalists? So that's all described in the terms and conditions. Now, slightly different compared to last year's Grand Challenge, we have prepared a response form template. And we would like to ask you to use this template to share information about your proposal. And please make sure that you're writing down the information in the right sections, because this will help our evaluation team to assess your proposal. As you can see on the right-hand side of this slide, please go back. On the right-hand side of this slide, you can see that these 3 documents can be found at the home page, but also at the required documents tab. So please download them first, have a look before you start writing your proposal. Now here you can see the timeline of the Grand Challenge. We opened the Grand Challenge on the 1st of September this year, so that means it's open for 2 months now, a little bit more. And the most important date that you have to keep in mind is the submission deadline. So the closure of the challenge will be on the 30th of November at midnight, Brussels local time. And at that moment, the website will close for all participants. I would like to give you the advice not to wait until the final moment to submit your proposal. Please do this a couple days before the deadline, because you never know what happens. There might be something wrong with your internet connection, might be too slow, too many people are trying to enter the web page at the same time. This could all happen. Now, if for some reason there's still certain issues, feel free to reach out to my colleagues at phd@ninesigma.com, or you can also email me directly at franken@ninesigma.com, and we will try to help you as fast as possible. Now, one last thing what I would like to add is that for every Grand Challenge and every innovation contest that we organize, it is not possible to extend the deadline. Next slide, please. Now, what are we asking you to submit? Our entire process is based on the exchange of non-confidential information. So in our response form template, we have created several sections where we would like you to address the different aspects of your proposal. And as I said before, all information that we're asking for should be non-confidential. What we would like to know is what you're capable of, preferably substantiated with supporting information, but we don't want you to describe in detail how everything works. Besides the technical information, we would also like to understand how you envision the further collaboration with Petrolube Oil once you would have been awarded as the finalist or as the Grand Challenge winner. So in essence, we advise you to download and fill in the response form template to submit your proposal. And on the right-hand side of this slide, you can see an example of how this first page of the template looks like. So please prepare your proposal offline. And while you're doing this, don't forget to change the name of that file when you're uploading it to 9sides. And we would prefer that you add your company name or your own name in the file name. Now, who will evaluate your proposal? We'll do this in 3 different phases. First phase, 9 Sigma's PM, who's in this case myself. I will read all the proposals. I'll check if there is certain information missing. Sometimes it happens that an attachment isn't uploaded correctly, or there's an attachment missing which contains crucial information. So that's one part. Second part is that I will also check that there is no confidential information written in your proposal. And in addition to this, I'll also check if you as a person are eligible to participate in this challenge. One example could be that employees of Petrolube or the AlDabbagh Group, they're not allowed to participate and win the award, just to give you an example. Now, once passed these 3 criteria, your proposal will be shared with a team of internal technical experts, and 3 of them are joining here today, which is Mustafa, Rajiv, and Yusuf. And in addition to the technical team, we also have an external team of evaluators who will assess the different aspects of your proposal. Now, who is joining our external team? At this moment, we're still building the team of external experts. And in the coming weeks, we will disclose a little bit more information about the external evaluators. However, today, we can already announce that Gail Glintworth, who is founder of Savo Project Developers and special advisor to System IQ, and Nikhil Sinha, who is CEO of One Valley, they'll be joining the external jury. With their experience in commercializing and implementing solutions, they will mainly be focusing on the business aspects of the submitted proposals. Later this month, we'll be announcing the last external jury members with a more technical background. So please make sure that you follow us on social media like LinkedIn or Twitter, where we will announce those additional jury members. Now, how will we evaluate the proposals? As I mentioned before, so Nine Sigma will take care of the eligibility, completeness, and confidentiality. Now, once they have met those criteria, the external and the internal jury members will review the proposals, and they'll have to evaluate them on different criteria. As Salman mentioned, there's first a technical assessment that will be done. Is it a conceptual proposal that you have submitted, or is it already tested at pilot scale? Or does your proposal lead to suitable end products, or is it something completely different? So that's the technical assessment, or part of the technical assessment. Then we have, as a next step, the environmental impact that will be assessed. Is the solution carbon neutral or not at all? Does it lead to a product that could meet the requirements which someone mentioned before? And then as a final step, the business side of things will be evaluated. What are the expected CAPEX and OPEX? Does the participant believe that the entire process could be cost effective? And is the collaboration that the participant envisions, is that really interesting for Petrolube or not? So using these criteria and many others, jury will evaluate your proposal. And after having reviewed all the proposals, 10 participants and their teams will be invited for an online pitching session. And we are anticipating that this will take place in February next year. And during this session, we will invite you to present your proposal again to the external jury and the internal jury in a session of 20 minutes max. Now, why should I participate in this challenge? Well, Petrolube and the ADG are prepared to recognize $100,000 in cash for the first phase of this challenge, which means that we have up to 5 respondents, and they will each receive an initial recognition of $20,000 each. So from the moment that Nine Sigma has informed you about your selection and you agree to accept the prize, you will have to move to the second phase, the demonstration phase. And in this second phase, those 5 finalists will be asked to demonstrate their solution as a proof of concept, or to prove that they have the right competences. So the 20K could be used in case certain adaptations of your proposed technology are needed, slight adaptations are needed, or if more information is needed so that Petrolube can assess better if you are a suitable partner and if your solution is suitable for this challenge. Now, the practical side of the demos is something that should be discussed from the moment that you know that you're one of the finalists, and you should discuss that with Petrolube. After demonstrations, Petrolube will then decide with who they would like to work in the future, and we will announce you as the winner. And the winner will then be awarded with a $1 million collaboration contract to kickstart that collaboration with Petrolube Oil. Now, that doesn't mean that it all ends for all the other participants. No, for the remaining finalists and also the non-finalists, there will still be an opportunity to discuss a further collaboration with Petrolube or the AlDaba Group. So if you're not selected, that doesn't mean that nothing will happen afterwards. Additional collaborations are still possible. Now, there are a couple of other questions which are frequently coming back, and I would like to address them in the following section. So very often people are asking questions about IP. So what about IP? What and how am I protected? Well, my role in this process here, in this grand challenge, is to make sure that there is no confidential information written in your proposals. So I will be the first line of protection. Now, when you've submitted your proposal, you should focus on, or when you're submitting your proposal, you should focus on what you can do and not detail exactly how you're doing it. So you can discuss an argument what you're expecting to achieve without revealing anything that is confidential. And then I would like to mention that by participating in this challenge, you're not granting any intellectual property rights related to the content of your proposal to Night Sigma or to Petrolube. You will still remain the owner of the IP of your proposal. Now, if you want more information, you can find that also in the official rules or the terms and conditions. Now, just to remind you what is very important, the deadline of this challenge is the 30th of November at 12 p.m. CET, so Brussels local time. So please don't wait until the last moment. Now, what if I'm one of the 5 finalists? If you are one of the final 5, you will receive a compensation of $20K each. Now, when these final 5 agree with their selection as a finalist, they will be asked to realize this demo or provide sufficient information to demonstrate the potential of your solution, the competences of your group. The 20K, you should see that as a compensation for the efforts that you've put into preparing your or writing your initial proposal, but it's also compensating for some future activities during the demonstration phase, like showing what your technology can do, showing what your device can do, or providing additional information so that it's possible for Petrolube to create a complete business case. So I would like to repeat that this is something that should be discussed prior to the start of the second phase. So the deliverables should be discussed from the beginning. Now at the end of phase 2, maximally 1 winner will be selected. And again, before officially announcing the winner, the finalist, the preferred finalist, will be invited to negotiate with Petrolube how this collaboration would look like. And if you both come to an agreement, you'll be awarded with that $1 million contract, and you can kickstart the collaboration. So what is the best way to respond? First of all, please register to the Ninesight webpage and make sure that you have an account. That's very important. Once you've done that, you should download and read the terms and conditions and the detailed project description. After reading this, and you still believe that this challenge perfectly fits with your expertise or with your future plans, you should download and start filling in the proposal template. So don't forget to change the title of this document. Otherwise, documents could be mixed up. Now, it's also possible to upload additional information like an article that you think is interesting to prove your technology really works. Or you could also add some other slides, PDFs, images, even a video link could be added. So anything that might help you to get and win the interest of Petromin. That's what you can submit in our portal. Now, how could you find potential partners if you will? So how could you find potential partners in order to offer a complete solution? So in case you have a partial solution, so which cannot completely solve this challenge, we would like you to look in your own network and see if you can find complementary partners there. What you could also do is go to our project webpage. We have the forum there. There is a specific section where you can also invite others to collaborate with you. So in this request, you could, for example, mention that you're looking for a partner who could address a very specific part of the challenge. Now, we're still inviting people to submit their proposals, even if they're partial, because Petromin could still bring all pieces together during and after the challenge. But of course, we prefer to get complete solutions for this challenge. Now, if I'm one of the 5 finalists, can I choose for the 20K award without further proceeding in the challenge? That's a question which is coming back very frequently. Now, from the moment Petrolube has shared the shortlist with us, we will be reaching out to you to inform you about your selection as a finalist. And there are actually only 2 possible scenarios. Or you're accepting your selection, you sign an NDA, you enter the demonstration phase, discuss deliverables, and while that's happening, you're receiving the 20K award. Or you reject your selection, which means that you're actually withdrawing yourself from the grand challenge and you won't receive the 20K. So in essence, it's not possible to accept the 20K prize without entering the demonstration phase. So both are interconnected. Now, with having that said, I believe we're ready to go to the live Q&A. So back to you, Serene.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Thank you, everyone, for the information. Now we'll open up the questions from the audience. So please continue to submit your questions through your Q&A chat box. This is an excellent opportunity for you to ask your questions away to our speakers so that they can respond. And don't worry if your question is not answered, because we will get back to you. Yeah, so I can start by the first question about business. So for this question, just a moment, here it is. So business value and other aspects are strongly related to plant location. So which region and currency should be assumed for manufacturing the base oil? Salman, could you answer this question?
Sure. So you could use US dollars as a currency. And as far as location is concerned, there are 3 possible locations that we are looking at. Of course, this is within Saudi Arabia. This grand challenge is to have a solution that is going to be implemented within Saudi Arabia. So there are 3 possible locations that we have at this point in time. One is Yanbu. Yanbu is a city which is about 400 kilometers north of Jeddah. That's where major Lubref refinery is. The other location could be Dammam, and the third location could be Riyadh. Now, please bear in mind that that it all depends on very efficient collection and consolidation of your used oil and then further distributing it to the blending plants. We haven't finalized the location, but these are 3 possible locations at this stage. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Salman. There is also another question, business related. So what percentage of global oil demand can be fulfilled by recycling used cooking oil into finished goods, engine oil? Salman, back to you.
Okay, so this is not a global study. This is a study which is focusing towards Saudi Arabia. So I can tell you the numbers that we have for Saudi Arabia. Our estimate shows that the vegetable oil or the cooking oil market is close to about 540,000 tons, 540,000 metric tons. The lubricants market, on the other hand, is about 400,000 tons. So you could see there is enough vegetable oil out there to be collected. Now, of course, you cannot collect all of it. How much of it could be utilized depends on efficient collection and utilization. And of course, I mean, we can see from this study, from these numbers, that there is enough cooking oil which is getting consumed, and there is enough used cooking oil which is available. We presume that perhaps 10% could be collected. That makes it about close to about 50, anywhere between 50 to 60,000 tons of used cooking oil could be collected and to be refined. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Salman. There is also another question about participation. Being an R&D team of faculty members, 3 number of university, can we participate in the competition? Tom?
Yeah, so the challenge is open actually for everybody. SMEs, startups, multinationals, research centers, universities. So here, what is really important is the technology. And yeah, there is perhaps one limitation that people from the AlDaba Group or people below the age of 18, they cannot participate. But the most important thing here is the technology itself. So it doesn't really matter where it's coming from.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Perhaps you can answer this one as well, Tom. There's a question about IP in practice. How is the subject of intellectual property foreseen?
Yeah, I think like I mentioned a couple of minutes before, it's everything what we do is based on non-confidential information, exchange of non-confidential information. Now, when you're submitting something, what I can say is the IP will still be owned by you or by the organization that you're representing. And later in the process, once you're selected as a finalist, once you're perhaps a winner of this grand challenge, you can negotiate how to deal with the IP. So is it that Petromin licenses the technology? Is it that Petromin could even acquire it? These are all options and can be discussed at a later phase.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. There is a question regarding current lubricants. What are the pain points of the existing lubricants production and use? Yusuf, maybe you can take this one.
Yes, and in order to keep focused on the core challenge here, Petrolube at the moment, we are not suffering from any problems in manufacturing mineral-based lubricants. Currently, all of our formulation and products are mineral-based and synthetic-based products. And since our vision basically is to be the leading company choice in the area, and we want to be a leader into contributing to sustainability and a better future and planet, we wanted basically to introduce the biodegradable products into our portfolio. So the challenge will be no pain points in manufacturing mineral-based lubricants. The challenge is to introduce the bioproducts, biodegradable lubricants into our product mix.
Yeah, thank you. Also, there is another question. Will there be any training on the technology used to process usual lubricants?
Well,
Yusuf?
on this one, I think it's based on the request. We can provide an online overview of our existing technology in manufacturing, mineral-based lubricants. We can give an overview of our existing technology based on request.
Yeah, great. Also, there is another question about collaboration, future collaboration. So in case our presented idea gets selected, will the team also be part of the future implementation? Tom?
Yeah, that's actually the entire setup. That's what we're trying to do here. So if you're submitting a proposal, the end goal is to create a collaboration between you and Petrolube. And we need your expertise. We need your experience to accelerate the entire implementation of the process. So that's what we're trying to do here. So we tried to create a collaboration between you, who has experience, who has the technology, and Petrolube, who has a very specific goal.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Perhaps you can answer this question as well. So about participation, someone is asking, I work as a researcher in a nonprofit institute and also a private consultant. Which occupation would be better for you?
That's a difficult question. So it depends a little bit if you're representing the nonprofit institute, and is it the nonprofit institute who is going to offer certain services to develop or implement the technology, or is it really the person itself who's going to do everything? So it depends a little bit what collaboration that specific person has in mind. So for us, it doesn't really matter, but you have to be sure that you're allowed, if you're doing this on behalf of the nonprofit institute, that you can also proceed later in the collaboration.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. There is also another question about lubricant production process. So the question is to better understand their needs, it would be helpful if Petroman described how they currently manufacture lubricants and their current base components. We have several pieces of IP that can convert cooking oil, so knowing which direction they want to go would be helpful. Yusuf?
Yeah, so basically our existing process in manufacturing lubricants, we can as I mentioned before, we can give an overview of how we manufacture mineral-based lubricants. As far as our direction into using vegetable oil, reprocessed vegetable oil into manufacturing biolubricants, this will be initially we will start with the hydraulic and industrial oils. So the end application as an initial step will be going into hydraulic formulations and industrial oil formulation.
Yeah, thank you, Yusuf. There is a question about processed residue. So does the proposal need to address the residue after treatment of used vegetable oil? Mustafa?
Yes, preferably the proposed solution will have the potential to lead towards a carbon neutral value chain. So this means that the whole process of converting the used vegetable oil, vegetable cooking oil, to a biodegradable base oil shouldn't harm the environment, land, air, or water. So that's why it should address the residues. Yes.
Yeah, okay. We can also ask more questions. So since we have more questions, we can go ahead a bit. So there's another question, Mustafa, you can perhaps answer. So can you quantify the expected yields per 1 liter of used vegetable oil?
No, because actually this will be this have to be determined by the proposed technology itself. You have to determine that in your proposed solution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. There is a question, another question. What are the suggested applications to be considered using the new product? Is it in gasoline, diesel engines, greases, industrial usage? Yusuf, you can take this one.
Yeah, Syrian, as I mentioned before, the end application will be starting with hydraulic oils.
Yeah, perfect. Another question. So what are the most likely processes or ways of achieving the objective of this experimental? Rajiv, maybe you can take this one.
Can you just repeat that question? I didn't get it properly.
Sure. Yes. So what are the most likely processes or ways of achieving the objective of this experimental?
Yeah, I think, basically, we are talking about the refining of the used oil. Used oil, used cooking oil, I think it can be, there are two main process I think we are adopting. One is a chemical process and one is a physical extraction process, depending upon the end use for which it is planned. Since we plan to use it in lubricants, generally we prefer, or rather the most preferred I think ways could be the physical methods, and if someone I think has got chemical methods also it's more desirable. Some of those physical methods could be adsorptions. Using maybe a different type of adsorbents that's used. That's a very proven technology as far as this cooking oil is considered. And in fact, there are some advanced techniques like distillations, whether it's in vacuum and maybe some kind of evaporation techniques used widely also. But some of them are still in on a laboratory level, it's proven. But if somebody has got, some technology access to, scale it up to a commercial level, that's also most welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rajiv. There is also another question about adjusting proposals. I would like to adjust my submitted proposal. Am I allowed to adjust it? Tom?
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. So proposals can be adjusted until the deadline. So just don't forget that when you're removing an attachment to attach a new version, of course, and then submit it again. So that's very important, because if you have a proposal which is again back in draft status, that's not eligible for the Grand Challenge.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Maybe one last question, or we still have a few questions. I believe that I have a solution that would partially solve ADG and Petrolube's Grand Challenge. What should I do? Tom?
Yeah, here again, I think we advise you to at least try to find a partner to be able to offer a complete solution to Petroman. Now, if that's too challenging or too specific, of course, we invite you to submit that partial solution. But ideally, we prefer to get a complete solution for this challenge.
Yeah, and now we'll end it with this question. Maybe, Tom, you can answer it. So someone is asking, does my proposal have to be in English?
Yeah, so that is the case. So we would like to ask you to submit your proposal in English, because also we have a very diverse jury. They all speak English, they all read English. Arabic would be difficult, so yeah, we would like to advise you to only use English in your proposal.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you everyone for that engaging Q&A. As I stated before, any questions that has not been answered live will be available along with the recording of this webinar on the challenge page on 9 sites. So what you can do today, so you can visit the Grand Challenge site at 9 sites. So it's 9sites.com/s/Omnipreneurship Awards 21. The second thing, you can register there to stay connected, download the required documents, detailed challenge description, official rule, and the response from templates. 4, you can prepare your proposal in the template and upload your proposal with the online response from form before Tuesday, November 30th at 11:59 p.m. CET. And as I mentioned, this webinar has been recorded and it will be made available along with the transcriptions. And if your question hasn't been answered, don't worry, because you'll get an answer. And if you need more information or more support regarding the challenge of the submissions, feel free to contact Tom at his email and contact here, vranken@9sigma.com. And thank you to our speakers for their time and expertise, and to our audience today. And we appreciate your time and look forward to receiving your submissions. So have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for organizing the webinar.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.